ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੀ ਰਾਜਧਾਨੀ ਓਟਵਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੋ ਪ੍ਰਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਹੋ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਉਸ ਨੂੰ ਕਰੀਬ 5 ਦਿਨ ਦਾ ਸਮਾਂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ। ਇਸ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਜਸਟਿਨ ਟਰੂਡੋ ਦਾ ਸੋਮਵਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਬਿਆਨ ਵੀ ਆਇਆ, ਜਿਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਫ਼ ਕਹਿ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਪ੍ਰਦਰਸ਼ਨਕਾਰੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਹ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨਗੇ। ਇਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੋ ਇਸ ਸਮੇਂ ਕੋਵਿਡ-19 ਦੀਆਂ ਹਦਾਇਤਾਂ ਦੇ ਖਿਲਾਫ ਪ੍ਰਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਹੋ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੁਝ ਸ਼ਰਾਰਤੀ ਅਨਸਰਾਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਹੋਰ ਮੰਤਵ ਪੂਰੇ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਵੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ਾਂ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ ਗਈਆਂ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਚੁੱਕਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਰਾਜਨੀਤਿਕ ਆਗੂਆਂ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਇਸ ਪ੍ਰਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਦੇ ਮੰਤਵ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਹੋਰ ਰੂਪ ਦੇਣ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਵੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਜਾ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਅਤੇ ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਜਸਟਿਨ ਟਰੂਡੋ ਨੇ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਕਿ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ 2 ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਵਿਡ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਅਤੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਕੋਵਿਡ ਰਿਪੋਰਟ ਵੀ ਪੋਜ਼ਿਟਿਵ ਆਈ ਹੈ।
It's frustrating that after 2 years, the battle against COVID-19 is still dominating so many parts of our lives. This virus affects us all. 2 of my own children have now contracted it, and this morning I learned I tested positive for COVID-19 as well. I feel well and have no symptoms. Of course, I'll be working remotely this week and will keep following public health guidelines. I want to take this opportunity to remind Canadians to please get vaccinated. It's a challenge that my family and I are facing, but there's nothing unusual or special about it. It's a challenge too many Canadians and people around the world know all too well. Durant cette pandémie, il y a des gens qui ont perdu des êtres chers. Nos travailleurs de la santé continuent de faire un travail acharné. Les scientifiques travaillent jour et nuit pour s'assurer qu'on ait des vaccins pour se protéger. This pandemic is not over, and we have to be there for one another. And as we continue to have each other's backs, as we steel ourselves for the challenges ahead, I know you're wondering about what you saw in our capital city this weekend. As my friend Irwin Cotler said on Saturday, freedom of expression, assembly and association are cornerstones of democracy, but Nazi symbolism, racist imagery, and desecration of war memorials are not. It is an insult to memory and truth. Hate can never be the answer. Over the past few days, Canadians were shocked and frankly disgusted by the behavior displayed by some people protesting in our nation's capital. I want to be very clear. We are not intimidated by those who hurl insults and abuse at small business workers and steal food from the homeless. We won't give in to those who fly racist flags. We won't cave to those who engage in vandalism or dishonor the memory of our veterans. La statue de Terry Fox et la tombe du soldat inconnu ne sont pas seulement des symboles du passé. Ce sont des points marquants de notre histoire qui représentent des héros canadiens et les valeurs pour lesquelles ils se sont battus. Les sacrifices de ces héros nous ont donné la chance de bâtir un Canada meilleur. Tous les Canadiens ont le droit d'exprimer leur opinion ou leur désaccord avec leur gouvernement, mais ils n'ont pas le droit de menacer ou de harceler leurs concitoyens, ni de propager des messages de haine. I want to thank the many Canadians who've made donations to the Shepherds of Good Hope and to the Terry Fox Foundation in response to what they saw this weekend. There is no place in our country for threats, violence, or hatred. So to those responsible for this behavior, it needs to stop. To anyone who joined the convoy but is rightly uncomfortable with the symbols of hatred and division on display, join with your fellow Canadians. Be courageous and speak out. Do not stand for or with intolerance and hate. En ces temps difficiles, tous les politiciens doivent démontrer du leadership responsable. On doit travailler pour rassembler les gens de manière positive. On doit lutter contre la division et la peur avec les faits. To the politicians exploiting people's fears, I ask you to think long and hard about the consequences of your actions. To the nearly 90% of truckers across the country who've gotten vaccinated, who continue working hard to keep us fed and keep our economy moving, thank you. Truckers have tough jobs. Long hours on the road, days away from their families. Real challenges, particularly over the past 2 years, as they've continued to step up to put food on our shelves and on our tables, to support us with life-saving medication and supplies. We have relied on you, and you can rely on us to continue to stand with you and allow you to do your jobs safely. Almost 90% of you are doing exactly that, right? Exactly that. And we thank you deeply for everything you've done. The behavior on display this weekend does not represent you. And to Canadians at home, watching in disgust and disbelief at this behavior, wondering how this could have happened in our nation's capital after everything we've been through together, this is not the story of our pandemic, of our country, of our people. Canada is strong because you are strong. Pendant près de 2 ans, les Canadiens ont fait preuve de force, de générosité et de respect. Vous avez démontré votre courage. Vous avez fait d'énormes sacrifices. For nearly 2 years, you've been there for each other as neighbors, friends, and fellow Canadians. I think of the moms and dads who looked after their families, the kids who stepped up in so many different ways, seniors who stayed strong in our darkest days, volunteers throughout our communities who supported our most vulnerable, frontline workers from truckers to store clerks who've kept our shelves stocked and made sure we have food on our tables, healthcare heroes who've saved countless lives and continue to do so. We know you're tired, and yet you do not stop. You inspire us. Canadians support you. We're in your corner. All of you are the story of this pandemic, not the convoy. Cette pandémie, c'est aussi l'histoire de millions de personnes qui ont fait les bons choix, qui se sont fait vacciner et qui ont fait des sacrifices pour assurer leur sécurité et celle des autres. Je peux vous dire que je vais continuer d'encourager les gens à se faire vacciner, que ce soit pour les doses de rappel ou les vaccins pour les enfants. Je vais continuer d'être là pour vous. I wish I could tell you that there are no more difficult moments ahead. But we all know I can't say that. What I can say is that this government will continue to have your backs. We will continue to be there for you as long as it takes, with as much as it takes. That's how we've all gotten through this pandemic so far, and that's what we and I will continue to focus on. Because we believe in you. Canadians are compassionate, kind, strong, and resilient. You elected us all to get big things done, and with the return of Parliament, we all have work to do. Later today, I'll be participating in question period, an important part of our democratic system, alongside parliamentarians who, despite threats and intimidation, will continue to serve you, Canadians, and work together to deliver results for people. This afternoon, we'll be introducing legislation to ensure we continue providing as many rapid tests as possible to the provinces and territories. And tonight, I'll be virtually addressing the House of Commons about the situation in Ukraine. I'll be talking about the importance of freedom, democracy, and the rule of law in the face of Russian provocation. In this difficult time, more than ever, we must stay true to our values, to who we are as Canadians. As Canadians, we stand up for what's right, and mostly, we stand up for each other. That's how we've gotten through this so far. That's how we'll continue to get through this. That's how we remain true to who we are. Merci, mes amis.